Hi, welcome to Kitchen and Bath Adventure Channel. I'm Mary Omohundro with Kitchen and Bath Global Partners. Thanks for tuning in to our episode today, An Industry on the Move, Part 2. I've got two guests joining me today. First, I've got Jason Lockhart. He's with Kitchen and Bath Marketing Solutions out of Texas. Hi, Jason.
How are you doing today, Mary?
I'm doing well, thanks. And I've also got Rodney Sepola. He's returning. He was with us last time. He's with Triumph Interiors Incorporated in New Hampshire.
Hi, Mary. It's good to be here with you and Jason.
Thanks for joining us again.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
So let's just jump right in. We have about 4 different topics we're going to talk about. And I figure we could start off with marketing, which would be Jason's topic of expertise. He started out as an architect by trade and somehow ended up on a path into marketing, and now he is an expert on marketing for the kitchen and bath industry. So Jason, can you just tell me a little bit about the best ways to market in this industry, especially with the changes that have taken place after COVID?
Yes, that has been an interesting topic of discussion that has happened within the last year. And really, when the start of the coronavirus happened, one of the things we did is we reached out to a lot of designers and remodelers in the industry just to see what was happening and what was happening in their market, what they were doing right, what they were doing wrong. And we found out a lot of good information. One of the things that people are doing now, if you've ever heard of the app called Clubhouse, that is an app that a lot of remodelers may want to think about joining. So it's an audio app where it's almost like being on a live podcast where every topic under the sun, every industry is there, and a lot of networking and business is actually happening on that app. So that's just one of the apps that I would like to share is Clubhouse. That is an amazing app that you want to try if you haven't heard of it. It's in the App Store. It just went live on Android, I believe, around March or April of this year. So it's on every platform now. So that's one you really want to look at. Also, in terms of social media, one of the ones, if you're on social media, what we like to tell our clients is don't try to use every single one. You may be on a couple of them, but what you really want to do is you want to research your audience to see where they are and put all of your emphasis on that platform and then curate that information for others. So if your audience is on Instagram, you want to do all of the things that Instagram is asking for. They're really asking for a lot of video now. So once you prepare your content for Instagram, now you can curate that information for Facebook and LinkedIn and Houzz and all these other platforms. But you want to put all your emphasis on one platform and curate the others if you're doing this all yourself. So those are just 2 things I want to talk about that really look at Clubhouse and on social media, know where your audience is and which platform you're going to develop the information or the content for and curate it for all the other platforms.
Gotcha. So I venture to say that with COVID, since we kind of switched over to a lot of virtual meetings, et cetera, it seems to me like it'd be kind of hard right now to have no marketing in the social media side. What are your thoughts on that?
Yes, and I would 100% agree. We actually have a client that they were not on social media at all up until last year. So they didn't like any social media. They were like, they had a personal Facebook account, but they were like, I don't want to spend my time on it. And then when the coronavirus happened and they started having the in-person, all of that stopped. Now they reached out as like, okay, you've been talking to me about this social media and online stuff. What do I do? And so that's when they created, a business profile. We went through the exercise of helping them find where their actual audience was, which was actually on Instagram. And so they had started to develop information and content for that platform, and then they would curate that for Facebook and for Houzz and for LinkedIn and for Pinterest. And so not being on social media will hurt you, especially in the environment we're in now. Like I like to tell, a lot of designers, social media is a necessary evil. I know a lot of people, I don't even like it. I don't like it, but it's, something we just have to be on. Is where a lot of our customers are. And Facebook, as you know, dominates social media. And so even if you're not making content for Facebook, whatever social media platform you are using, you should have a business, a profile on Facebook and curate information for that platform.
Right.
Really
I would venture to say that a lot of people, it's just out of their comfort zone.
Yes.
Those of us in certain age groups didn't grow up with this stuff. So how hard has it been for some of your clients to learn it and then become comfortable with using it?
For some, it's been harder for some than others. I'll just like to say my mom is now on Facebook. So she joined Facebook last year, and she's actually on it more than because I'm usually only on Facebook for business. But she's always sending me messages, and she's like, "Did you not check my message? I sent you." I'm like, "But Mom, I'm only over here for business." So some clients are having a harder time than others, but most of the clients, the majority, understand that, like I said, it's a necessary evil. So you have to be on social media of some type, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever it is. Like I said, know where your audience is, and that's where you want to be. But having an online presence on social media today is vital for helping you grow your business and to brand yourself in the market.
Right. Rodney, how do you feel about the social media side? Have you been on it for a while, or is that something new for you?
Yeah. So I don't know what happened, but I think I lost my camera here.
Oh, okay.
Give me 1 second. I'll come back to that.
Okay, that's fair. So, Jason, let me ask you a little bit then about selling platforms and Omni-Channel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So one of the things we like to talk about is being omnipresent, and what that means is just to be everywhere that your end user or that your prospect wants to be. And there's a lot of channels out there. There's a lot of, in terms, we had talked about social media. One of the other things you should have. So the two things we say every client should have: website and an email list. So you should have, because those are the only two properties that you own. And I actually have a quick example of that. We actually have a client that was only on Facebook, and last year, one of her employees was running ads. They ran ads the wrong way, and they got their account disabled for 6 weeks. So just imagine if you were not online for 6 weeks, what that might do to your business. So she didn't have a website. She just had social media, which was the opposite end of what we were just talking about. Some people not wanting to be on social media. She only had that platform. So we had developed a website for her, and now she uses it. So with the website, so that's one platform. The other platform, like I said, is email, but also tied into the website is your blog.
Sure.
So having a blog is another way for you to get information out there that end users or the prospects now begin to relate you as an expert in your field or in your industry, in your locale. So having a blog, having an email list, having a website are 3 channels that you want to have at a minimum, also with social media. And so that helps you to create that omnipresent everywhere that the end user or the prospect is.
Right, that makes sense. I think we have Rodney back, do we?
I'm back.
Fabulous. Oh, yay.
Good to be back. But yeah,
So
on the
back to
social
you.
media side, I definitely would say I shy away from it because I feel like it started for me with a personal thing, because I was, 10, 12 years ago, got on Facebook. And then now to mix business with it, it just seems really weird for me. So I have a hard time doing both, like personal and business. So I tend to stay away from it as much as possible, but I do see the need for it. We get some clients that come to us through social media, but I think to Jason's point, finding one channel that works and really hammering that home. And for us lately, that's Google. So that's where we're getting the most traction.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So just circling back to the selling platforms, Jason, one of the things that I note is that putting together several different options for selling, especially after COVID. I know I keep saying that, but it's part of our lives right now, because people got used to now doing virtual, doing things, being able to buy online. But in the kitchen and bath industry, it's difficult to do the whole process that way. So just talking about the best way to create a seamless experience for your customer, where they can kind of use all of the different options of purchasing.
And that really starts with your website and really creating a user experience that your end user or your clients want. And what we've been seeing a lot of within the last year of what has happened since the coronavirus started was having e-commerce as an aspect of your website. And so many suppliers or designers or remodelers that may have had a showroom, they're now putting a lot of that on their website where they may not have had it before. And so that's creating a platform where they can now interact with them. And then many of them have chat bots where they can do direct live chat with a lot of the customers during business hours, obviously. So they're able to chat with the customers that are looking for any of the FF&E furniture, fixtures, and equipment that their showroom may have. And they're able to get that user experience from home and still be able to have a little bit of one-on-one. It's not the same because you can never take away one-on-one in person. But the next best thing after that is to have that live chat on your website where you can communicate with the end user or the consumer.
Yeah, that's a good point. Rodney, how has that changed for you? How has it changed your customer journey with all of the changes after COVID?
Yeah, we definitely shifted to immediately all of our designers got their own Zoom account. We really encouraged Zoom meetings. I mean, it was crazy. Like you couldn't even get a webcam for a while during COVID. And then, so we were doing a little bit of it before, but the whole COVID environment created Zoom meetings to be the normal. So we've tried to get people to reach out through our website, like Jason's saying. And then if we can do a lot of the meeting through a Zoom meeting, that's actually preferred, because we can get a lot of the design heavy stuff done. And then if they come in for a personal in-person meeting, we're really looking at selections and colors and the touch and feel surfaces, which it seems to work really well.
Yeah. Do you find that now, I mean, now that we're sort of getting back to normal, although I'm not sure what normal is anymore, but do you think that people are just going to expect to have that option going forward?
I really do, because people want to buy how they want and when they want. So they're buying from companies that work with them. So it's like, we find a lot of people reach out through our website at 10 p.m. at night and things like that. And they're like really odd times, but it's like, that's when it was convenient for them. So they send us a message and then we get back to them as soon as we can.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. How have you had to sort of change the map of your customer journey now, or have you just kind of fit that into what you see as your customer's journey?
Yeah, the customer journey, I feel like, has changed some. It's kind of a evolving process, but it definitely became more of build trust up front virtually as much as we can. And through marketing avenues is really what it is. And we're not doing as much as we want to with it. But I really feel like the companies that are doing that well, adding video to their website, adding the onboarding videos, messages from the owner, that kind of stuff, which we don't even have right now. but I see that as like, that's a really big need because people want to become familiar with you before they even say, all right, I'm going to do business with you. So it seems like a lot of customers, by the time they come to us now, they're already ready to do business.
Yeah.
Where, 3, 4, 5 years ago, they were like, we have time, and now with lead time issues and things, they're a lot more ready to go. So they've already done their homework.
Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely say, the kitchen and bath industry is very much a relationship selling type of a situation, and it's definitely more challenging, at least I would say, to build that relationship and build that trust, over video than in person.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And
Have you done any? Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I like a really simplified approach. So as far as a customer experience journey, I try to keep it to like, all right, what's a 3-step process that we do? And it's like, the initial contact, then the design process, then the install process.
Right.
And try to keep it inside of that, because if we go outside of that, it tends to get a little bit confusing, even though it is a much bigger process. So as far as in general, like we're finding customers want to know things quickly, real efficiently, and say, this is how it's going to go. 1, 2, 3. This is how you do business with us. And everybody lives happily ever after. And they really want that kind of story, even though they know there's a lot more detail behind the scenes.
Right. So sort of coming into setting up the expectations up front and then following through on the back end.
Yep, definitely.
Right.
Definitely. Yep.
Yeah. How have you worked on training your team moving toward this sort of new way of doing this?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's certainly been a challenge, but I think training our team. So a big reminder for me is the number one thing somebody wants in a job is personal growth. So sometimes training looks simply like, hey, what kind of book have you been reading lately? Or have you been reading lately? And really trying to pique their interest of thinking on that level. Because that's what I have to do with myself, or my coach does that with me when we're meeting. It's, what have you been reading lately? And I'm like, actually, I haven't. He's like, okay, well, that's why you're thinking on that level. So taking those kind of ideas of personal growth is really the first step, I think, in training the team. And getting past that, it's a challenge, honestly, because that's like a never-ending journey for all of us. You hit the ceiling, and then you come back down. You hit the ceiling again. You're kind of slowly rising up along the way, getting a little better.
Yeah, definitely. Would you say that the way our industry is right now, everyone is so busy, and I hear a lot from different dealers, well, I can't do it right now, I'm too busy.
Yeah.
How do you navigate that?
Oh man, you can't afford not to. You really can't, because somebody else out there is doing it. I know Thad's talked about it, like the big talent grab. So people are looking for that culture and that family environment. They're looking for, meaning, through work and through personal growth and all that. So if it's not on the forefront of your mind, and then we have this talent shortage. So it's like that, those companies that are doing that are the ones getting those people.
Yeah.
So, it's important to have the benefits and all those things, but I think it's the like culture side that really is winning over, the talent these days.
Yeah, and that goes back to part one. We talked a lot about the core values and the culture, but everything seems to kind of just come back down to that.
Yeah, it definitely does. Yeah. Yeah, and in our company, we have 4 core values. Optimism, relationships, experience, and integrity. And we try to do everything based off of those. And we used to have 9 core values, and we shrunk it down to 4 because we're like, we need to all know these and we need to all practice them on a daily basis. Kind of goes back to like that selling approach. If it's not simple, we don't remember it. we're getting information flooded at us every day. So we're just like, we're so trained now to just be like, nope, not for me. Ignore it.
Yeah.
So these things like core values that we really believe in, it's like we want to simplify them so we can just hone in and just keep hammering that. Like, this is really important to us. That being optimistic, expecting the best outcome is a core value for us, because we don't want somebody coming in and being like, well, yeah, it's just going to go wrong because that's how it always goes. It's like, no, that's not going to fly around here.
Right. Yeah, that's excellent. Jason, what kind of issues do you run into on your side with team training? You must be as busy as we are. So tell me about that.
Yeah, with team training, it's been really, and like you said, because a lot of our own clients, they're swamped in terms of the work, and training is just an aspect of what we do, because we always like to stay up on what all the new marketing techniques are, social media, SEO, PPC, and all that. So I actually have our team do at least 4 conferences a year, whether it be in person, virtual. And so they usually choose which ones they want to attend based on what their area of interest are. So if they're more so on the social media side, they may head to Social Media World, or if they're on the PPC side, they may head to, a conference on that side. So training is an aspect of all that we do. And I just leave it open to which of the conferences they want to attend, but we just have a requirement that they have to attend at least 4 every year.
Yeah, that's good.
Really awesome.
Yeah.
I think one other thing I want to touch on there is one thing we've looked at is dream management. So there's a book called Dream Manager by Matthew Kelly, and kind of talks about inspiring your team through connecting with their dreams. So we actually had a session where I created a little script to go by, but it's essentially like comes down to this point where you try to write 100 dreams in 5 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And it's really impossible because you can't write that fast. But then you get them to share, and then you kind of like walk through this accountability process. And once you share that goal, as you guys know, like a goal written down is like 50% achieved already, right? Mm-hmm. So It's like taking that dream and turning it into a goal, and then doing that in the community environment with the whole team. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's so cool to see people. I've seen somebody a couple weeks ago shared at one of our team meetings, and he wanted to buy a house, and 3 weeks later it was done. You're just like, this guy had been working on it for over a year. And then it's finally, and I knew that, but when he shared it with the whole team, like the whole office was cheering him on, like, oh, that's so awesome, do it,
Wow, that's great.
Yeah. And I'll just add on to that, what just to tie into that, what we like to do on our side is we like to have at least once a quarter, we like to have outings with our team, whether it be bowling or camping or something like that. We like to have all of our team get together and really do something just to build the camaraderie within the group, and to have all of us really learn each other outside of the work environment.
Mm-hmm. That's so good.
Yeah, that's really good. Definitely inspiring your team, it seems to be high on the list. But building their confidence, I think, in what you are saying, Rodney, is writing down all your dreams and then actually speaking them out loud. First of all, they're written now they're spoken out loud. And the team is there cheering you on. I think it builds their confidence to know that they can do it.
Yeah, definitely. It's so good. So we kind of like create the structure that it's okay to dream, and kind of like walk through the process of like, this is what a dream is and this is what a dream isn't. Mm-hmm. And then really encourage them to like think outside of the box. Like, all growth happens outside of the comfort zone. So we all need a little nudge to make that happen.
That's right.
Yeah. That's
really great. Definitely a twist on when you say training, people sometimes go, oh, no training. But that type of training kind of lets you have personal growth, which then lets you grow in your skills and what you're doing in your job.
Yeah, no, a little bit how I look at it is like the skills to do your job are just like that's the baseline. So there's going to be some training involved in that, but that process usually should be, 6 months, 3 months, a year, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then they know enough where they understand the business, they understand what needs to be done. So then it becomes all these soft skills of how much they want to learn, how much they want to grow to really reach that next level. Like you guys know, that's what it takes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, for sure. So going back to the culture, I believe that you create your culture in your office and with your team, but then that has to extend out to obviously your customers and into the customer journey. How, Jason, can you make that extend out through your marketing?
Yeah, well, one of the ways, like I said, is that we do a lot of the once a quarter events, and then what we like to do is if we have any clients in the area, we like to invite them to whatever the event is also, so they can participate. And then since we work nationally, some of our clients that cannot attend, we like to do like a recap video and send that off to some of our clients so they can see what happened virtually. So they may be able to incorporate some of those same ideas on their end with their team, because there was one event we had did where it was axe throwing, and I've never done that before, and it was it was interesting to see what happened, and the people, and how I was that, since that was my first time. Let's just say I was made a few mistakes, but it was interesting to hear everybody laugh, and then you can build that camaraderie like I talked about. And there's a client that we have in Florida, and they had never been, and so we had talked about that whole process of what happened, and they used that in one of their events, and he said that was one of the best outside the office events they've ever had, because they were just laughing at what happened, because that's something that uh, a lot of us don't do normally, axe throwing. So just to see the entertainment and the fun, it helps to open people up from what they're used to in the office, because they know you how you are in the office, but they don't know how you are outside your family, how you are outside of 9 to 5. So
there must have been some real savagery going on there.
Yeah, I was not one of the better ones, and I'm very competitive, but I was not one of the better ones.
That's crazy. So I guess maybe we can check if there's any questions out there. If anyone has any questions for either Rodney or for Jason, we like to take those now. Nothing yet? No? I actually have a question for you, Rodney. I know you've been in business for a little while, but when you first started out your dealership, what were some of the major challenges that you faced in pulling together your team and putting together your processes and your journeys?
Wow, good question. So that was about 2010, 2011. I think the biggest thing for me really was the belief. So believing that we could do it, believing that we could survive. We were coming out of an economic downturn. So it was a real challenge. So we often quoted the Zig Ziglar comment where he says, "We respectfully decline to participate in this recession." And so that was kind of our mantra, is like, no, there's business out there. We're going after it, staying hungry. And then having a vision for the future. We had a really good foundation. My wife supported me a lot with it. She was really good at setting like that picture for the future. Mm-hmm. And having that as like, it's like that dream, right? Like I remember when we moved into our new building 4 years ago, it was just like, wow, like this actually happened,
Yeah.
And John Maxwell has a quote that says, "You're only 5 years from reaching your biggest dream or goal." And I was like, well, I don't know if I believe that. And we kind of we're like doing a lot of that personal development stuff then. And we bought this piece of land and we moved into it. When we bought this land, we had a 12,000 square foot facility designed on it. And we had 3 people, 2 employees and myself. And we had a second floor with offices designed, and we didn't have anybody to fill them. We didn't have the employees. And then when we moved in, it was 2 months before 5 years. And I was just blown away thinking back to like the whole process of how that went through. And I was like, wow, we did this in less than 5 years. And that was my biggest goal or dream at the time. And so it was kind of overwhelming, but really exciting. And like when you set your mind to it and you have good people around you and you go after building your business the right way, with integrity and not the snake oil salesman type of stuff, it really pays off. People see that, and now we have relationships from 10, 12 years ago that still do business with us, because when something didn't go right, we still worked with them on it to make it right. So
that's important.
Yeah, definitely.
It sounds a little bit like that movie Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come.
We quoted that quite often.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still believe it. I mean, there's so many things that the world needs visionaries. So when somebody has a good vision and then you put boots on the ground with that dream and you get that thing moving, like people get excited, they come alongside of it and they want to support it. Like we're all about that, right? Like you hear a good story and you want to be a part of it. So
absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Oh, we have a question coming. I can't read it.
Oh, I can read it. It's for Jason. So,
okay.
Jason, is it possible to handle all of the marketing, including social media, for my own kitchen and bath dealership? Or do I need to hire a marketing person?
Okay, good question. I actually get that question a lot. It depends. Now, if you're a one-man or one-woman show and you're trying to do all of this on your own, I would say it will be hard to do everything on your own, because you have to, because you're an expert at what you do and you do that. Now, if you have team members that you can start to divvy up or divide up aspects of social media, website, SEO, and all of that, then yes, you can. What I would suggest is to see what is your overall, what are you aiming to accomplish with your marketing, and then see if you have any in-house people that can help you with that. If not, then I would suggest heading out to find marketing agencies that can help.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
I know for us, the hardest part, it seems to be, is actually the implementation.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you kind of have this idea, you know how it works. Like most business owners are smart, right? They're like, oh, I know how to do it. And then it's like, okay, I'm going to do this every week or every month. And then you get busy and 2 months goes by and you didn't do that thing that you were supposed to do every week. So,
and and just to add on to that, Rodney, that is the one thing about marketing. It's all about consistency. No matter what you do, whether it be SEO, PPC, social media, it's all about consistency. Because as you start to create the campaigns, it's going to take an individual or prospect 4 to 5 to 7 to 8 times to see it over and over and over again before they even know who you are, to know, like, and trust you. And if you aren't consistent, you may have went 4 or 5 times, but then they may need the 6th or 7th time before they're interested. So it's all about consistency. So.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It comes down to accountability too, that we kind of learned around here with our traction group. We have these rocks that we have to do within 3 months, and we've met every week to talk about accountability, to making sure that they're getting done. So you have to either hold yourself accountable, which is not always easy, or have someone else hold you accountable to get those things done on a regular basis.
Look at the rock.
Yeah.
We literally took these rocks that we found by the ocean and wrote on them with a Sharpie. I was like, okay, this is my rock for the next.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like, rewrite the sales training process.
Oh, look at that. Okay.
It's pretty cool.
I like that.
The end of the quarter, I went through. I'm like, oh, that's nice. That's done. And you put it in its own separate pile.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to try that. Yeah, we actually were really surprised on the last meeting. We look back to see what have we actually accomplished, and it's amazing what you get done when you actually hold yourselves and the rest of your team accountable for getting it.
Yeah.
So it's a good feeling, right, when you get there.
Absolutely. They say everybody needs support, encouragement, and accountability.
Yeah.
Like those three things, you get a long way with those three things.
Yeah, it's important.
Yeah.
What would you say, like, I know we've talked a little bit about inspiring our teams, in a big picture overall, but what about just a little bit day by day?
I'll just go say what we like to emphasize is to celebrate the small wins, because a lot of times we have the big goals and then we're aiming towards that, but there's a lot of steps that it usually takes to hit that big goal. And we oftentimes, and I'm also guilty of this, of actually forgetting to celebrate those small wins along the way to get to the bigger goal. And so that's what I like to emphasize with our team, and our team is always about, okay, what did you do on your goal? Okay, you hit that. Let's take some time out and celebrate that small win, because it also helps to encourage whoever hit it. Like I am headed there, because sometimes it could get lonely when you have a big lofty goal and it's gonna take a while to get there. You could lose. If you don't celebrate the small wins, it can sometimes discourage you. So celebrating all small wins we found has helped out our own team, just to help to keep everybody focused.
Yeah,
that's really important. Good. The other thing I would say, I love that, Jason. That's so key. Like we get so busy, we forget to celebrate the little accomplishments. But the other thing I would say for me, it really works, is just get out of town somewhere, go on a hike, get your head right, go on vacation, go to a hotel on a Friday night, even if it's locally, and just get time to let things catch up to you. So just kind of get away and just don't do much of anything, but just like let your mind and body process what's going on. So
yeah, that's good. Self-care is important, especially if you're working on personal development. You got to take care of yourself too.
That's true.
Space. Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't have any more questions here. Does either Rodney or Jason, do you have anything else you'd like to touch on?
I would just say, what I had talked about earlier, consistency, and making sure you have at least the three things: the website, the blog, and the email list. Because like we like to emphasize all of our clients, that's the only property that you own. Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn, you don't own any of those, and they could take those down at any time, but you own your website. Hopefully, if you have a website, you have a blog and you have an email list. So if you don't start anywhere else with your marketing, if you have all those items, you can begin to actually market to your end user.
That's really good. Yeah, I would just say encourage the kitchen and bath dealers to be a good leader, work on yourself, but then also make sure you're taking time to take care of yourself. Like we touched on at the end, like the self-care stuff, like make sure you're having those moments in a day where you're enjoying your job. Remember that why you started your business, and that you get to do it, and it's not a have to, because sometimes business gets like that and you're like, oh, I have to do this. And your business is usually pretty good when you think of the positives, but sometimes we're just fighting those daily struggles of putting out the fires, and so that's front of mind, right? So then it's like it's important for us to, and for myself to, like, stop, reflect, and say, okay, what's good about my business? Do I like this business anymore? It's like, oh yeah, I do like it because of this, and this, and it gives me inspiration to move on. So I would just encourage everybody out there to do that. Like, think about the good things in your business and be like, oh yeah, I get to do this today. That's awesome. So
That's excellent advice. I love that. I do. Well, I want to thank both of you, Jason Lockhart with Kitchen and Bath Marketing Solutions in Texas and Rodney Sepola with Triumph Interiors in New Hampshire. I really appreciate you joining me today. This was part 2 of an industry on the move on our Kitchen and Bath Adventure channel. We will have part 3 in October on the 14th. So looking forward to that, and just keep your eye out. I'm watching for more information on that. Thanks for joining us.
Okay. Good to be here. See you,
Yeah,
Mary.
thanks for having us.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.